Right, hello Mr. Landfill, hello everyone watching. Oh, hang on a second, let's sort out the sound. We've got microphone issues because I forgot to turn on my microphone. There we go. How's that? Hopefully that is sounding better and a bit clearer with the microphone actually by my face rather than on the camera. How are you doing, Mr. Landfill? And yeah, this is the big exciting news today. Got this done finally. It's the one we started on stream a while ago. Took another 3 hours today to get it to a point that I'm at least happy enough with it. And so very pleased to now be done with it. But yeah. Pleased. Pleased. Today is going to be a bit of an odd one. I've got a lot of things that I need to finish prepping that I have not finished prepping yet because I take a lot longer to do things than I expect to, and so I need to finish some things to a level that I am happy with. So I just need to make some decisions about what is priority. Too many choices of things to work on. That's like a reasonable one. Yeah, thanks Charlie, good to see you. I always appreciate people being, or at least having the stream open, even if they're doing other things. It all helps, so I do appreciate it. I hope you're not doing too many rubbish, boring chores, but I appreciate that that is part of being a grown-up, and it's not always fun, sadly. Sorry, I am just being very boring and trying to figure out what I want to sit and prep with you guys today. And it's not because I don't want to sit and prep with you, it's because I've got a lot of things that need prepping and I'm trying to decide what is going to be the most interesting thing to prep. Yeah, I think this one might be a silly one. We can do a Hildy. So I'm trying to finish off a lot of stuff because I've got a sale, or at least a thing that I'm doing for my in-laws where there's a village fete and I'm taking some fossils. I am doubting anything will sell, but I'm using it as a good excuse to finish as much as possible so that the shop, the fossil shop, which is currently not super active, I will relaunch it next week with all the stuff that's not sold at the fete, and readjust everything for prices, images, yada yada yada. So just trying to get a lot of things finished to that level that I would be happy with it either being for sale at a fete or on the website. And yeah, lots of bits. Yeah, I am sorry to hear that the doggo is having surgery. I know it's a big deal, especially if you then have to restrict an active doggo to crate or not jumping, running, yada yada yada. All the things that they love most. Not being able to do that's a big challenge. I do appreciate. And trying to set up a house to do that, I also appreciate may not be that easy. But yeah, we got a Hildy here. This is back in the days that I was really good about labeling everything. I have got an awful lot less good at labeling everything in the intervening years. So this is actually a Hildy from Ravenscar, collected on the 19th of July 2024. I thought it was such a big deal that I gave it a proper label. It's a nice Hildy. Sadly got a little break in it, so that we can see the calcite chambers there. But looking at it, it's got some pretty interesting natural fractures through it, which make me think this might actually just pop off the second side. So we'll do that and see if it'll go. And take that off so it doesn't stop it exploding if it wants to go. So yeah, it's stuff like this I need to finish getting done. I also would like to finish this one because it's quite nice, but I think that one might take longer than I have on stream and not be the most thrilling watch. Whereas I think this one has a good odds of actually popping nicely, so we will see how it goes. Yeah, I'm going to mute you all from my chatting, or at least mute my microphone. So feel free to chat questions, comments, all of those things as always. Yeah, we'll be back with you as and when. He says, having realised, no gloves! Let me just go grab those. I'm glad you are getting to also build your prep box. Yeah, I believe that my designs, whilst not perfect, are a really good starting point. There's obviously a lot that I would change now that I've got my box. And I would definitely add some positions for lights that angle appropriately. Probably give myself a light on this side, so nearest me as a viewer, and as well as the one that's up there. So here, let me give it a second camera. So yeah, I would not be opposed to a light behind here, because I rely on my magnifying light for a lot of stuff. But then at the same time I forget to stick it on. But also it'd be better just to have one here. Definitely would have this better mounted. And I don't know if you'd then need these two if you had a good one at the front and a good one at the back. So yeah, and then obviously much more height, because I'm playing with a very low box here that I can basically span top to bottom with my hands. So yeah, I don't blame you for tweaking the designs, because yeah, that gets very tedious when you're bunking the glass with the pen, or the back of the pen. And the Maya is not a big pen, there are far bigger ones around, so yeah, it would be not ideal for any of the big ones, the T-Rexes and the Bronto type pens. Anyway, prep time, now that I'm all gloved up. Oh, lots of comments. Hey Katie, good to see you. And it's still hot as heck in Michigan, I then take it from what I've seen. I will also say what I'm doing now for prep is not the best way to prep a Hildy. I'm doing it to speed it up. And so what the goal is to basically go all the way around the outside, remove the matrix, and then see if the center will pop as one fell swoop. But yeah, that's what I'm doing, just working around this edge, around the keel, and then see if we can get this whole lump on the top just to go in one. But yeah, it's better if you don't try and do that. There's a good chance that you will take off all the shell and damage it, but I would like to save myself an extra 3 hours of prep time if I can help it. Sorry, I was just taking a drink. I don't know how much of that came through because it turns out I was muted while I was explaining the question from Shirley about why belemnite's translucent glass material but ammonites are not. Belemnites, and in fact all mollusks, build their shells out of calcium carbonate or, well, some form of calcium carbonate, whether that be calcite or aragonite. And ammonites, squid, cuttlefish, belemnites, octopus, snails, gastropods, bivalves, the whole lot. They're all mollusks and they all build their shells out of the same material, and that is one of the calcium carbonate variants, whether, as I said, it's either calcite or calcite or aragonite, and aragonite I think is just calcium carbonate with a bit more magnesium in it. I might be wrong on that, but I think that's what it is. And usually you'll find that one or the other is the shell, and the preservation is one or other depending on the water and the mineral content. So whatever or whichever one belemnites are making their shells out of is what's giving them that material color. It's calcium carbonate in effect, be it calcite or crystalline calcium carbonate, so either calcite or aragonite. You'll see that's true for nearly all ammonites too. They all are, when you get the shell preserved, and this is the thing that gets very confusing for a lot of ammonites, is, so for example, this shell here is a good example. You can see there's a thickness of shell, hopefully. So there's like the infill sediment here, and then you've got a thickness of shell, and this shell here is all calcite or calcitic in some form. What we often see with ammonites when they are pyritic or calcitic is we're not talking about the ammonite shell, we're talking about the infill, which is often what is all that's preserved. And so you do get obviously calcite ones, which the chambers are filled with calcite. You do get them filled with pyrite, which is when they're all pyritic. And so I'll put it away. So the one I was working on, where is it? This deck that we did, you'll see, hopefully you can see that there's some slightly browner bits right here, and then there's the golden bits here, and the browner bits are the original shell, or these parts of the original shell, and the golden bits are where the chambers and the body chamber, or I say the body chamber, where the chambers and the internal structure of the ammonite is infilled with iron pyrite. So that's why they're different, is you're looking at different structures. The second part of your question is, do belemnites preserve in pyrite? They do, or at least parts of them do. The fragma cone, the belemnite fragma cone, the body chamber, so that segmented cone-like structure that exists on the back of a belemnite, that I do not have one to... Ooh, actually I do have one to hand. Give me 1 second. I know where one is. Chaos as I rattle everything around. So this doesn't look like a lot, because in itself is not an awful lot, but this is the back of a belemnite. The bullety bit would go off this way, and so if you imagine the bullet being probably about as long as my finger, if not longer, this would then be the belemnite, and you might see this fragma cone here. There's bits, oh in fact, why am I showing you that bit? Look at this bit. Yeah, so they often have a pyritic structure. There's obviously some calcite in it, but they often get pyrite within this. And why these sections become more pyritic than the main belemnite, I don't know. I'm assuming it's that it's easier to replace the mineral content in these with pyrite, whereas the calcium carbonate of the bullet itself is basically crystallized. It's pretty much impossible to replace without breaking down the crystal content, but I'm not sure exactly why. But yeah, so there's your answer with do you get PalaeoTech belemnites? Yes, in part. I suspect there are locations you might find belemnites that have a pyrite coat as well. But this is ready to pop, give or take. Let me just, I apologize, this might be a touch noisy, but I'm going to just see if this will go. There it goes. So, boop. And there's your question about some calcite infill on this one, where the chambers have popped. And that's why we tend to not shortcut them, as you can break the chambers, which not ideal, but I don't think it detracts too much from a specimen like that. It was already had the calcite exposed on one side. But yeah, we'll just tidy this one off.
Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Dangerous times, don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world, but keep the sky in your mind.
In general, I don't if I pop them on the beach. I've kept a few of the ones from the ones I've done on stream or in this rapid prep mode that I do for small hildies in particular and grandmas. Yeah, I do keep some of them. Usually if they pop well and I get what we call pos neg or positive negative, like that split pair, like the things that you see on all of the YouTube channels where they can go boop and you've got both sides. Yeah, I keep those because they're worth quite a lot more to be together. if they're like this, where they're just like a piece of one, so that's the biggest bit of this one that came off. I'll keep that. That will go into the displays tomorrow. That's sort of like kids can take that as far as I'm concerned. But I do know people who do sell them as like a thing as that. But I think those can be given away and people can have a negative of an ammonite. So yeah, here we go. I'll just show you. They go as a negative of a Hyundai, a different Hyundai. Basically, you'll see that there's a theme here with Hyundai, just because they are the ones that tend to pop easily, or at least more easily, whilst you're doing prep. If you're smacking things with hammers, then like any and all species have a chance to work well, and those are the ones that I often don't keep if they're broken in any way. If they're, as I said, if they're a nice pair that they get taped up together and they come back as a taped up thing. I'm just trying to see if I have any. Yeah, so even here's in my box of things getting prepped. So here's a pseudo, positive, negative. Katie, I don't know what you're talking about. If you're talking about the one at Zoic Bay that's still on the beach somewhere, no idea. Probably in someone's collection now. But that Hyundai's also being prepped on both sides. Hopefully a better job than I've done with this one. So we'll see where the negative ends up being, because that may come back as a pos neg, but we'll see. But yeah, let me just finish this thing off, and then but feel free to keep asking questions. Hey Paul, and welcome. I've just, I'd say, prepped badly, but rapidly prepped the reverse side of this Hyundai from Ravenscar. So most of this was on display, but it was sat in a big a matrix bit, and I wanted just to see if I could get it out. Did it quickly. Downside of doing it quickly is it didn't go cleanly. There's obviously some natural fractures in it. There's one that runs across there, which basically is the edge of that brake, and there's another one running through here. And so section broke off, and you can see where, sorry as everything rattles, it's windy here, you can see where some of the shell's gone away and you've just got the infill. Just a quick and dirty Hyundai. Not going to worry about doing the mouthboard or anything fancy to it. I know, annoyingly, I've got a couple of tool marks in it, which I might have to just see if I can figure out how to get rid of those without spending too long faffing with it. That is a good question. Probably smooth that quickly. So yeah, I got my extended flex shaft for the Dremel. So it's a much smaller entity now, which makes it a lot easier to use. It is a bit of a faff still because I've got the main unit sort of suspended and hanging down. But yeah, so I'll just give this a quick grind down, see if I can make it look at least smooth. I don't plan to dig it in to make it look like it's an empty mouth. Is it better? Is it worse? It'll divide opinion, but it'll do. It doesn't look like it's fully unprepped, at least that way, with random tool marks on it. Yeah, I'd say it's a fun question of whether I've made that any more valuable or less valuable, having spent, what, an hour prepping it. But yeah, don't know. don't mind. As I don't think it's a terrible, oop, 20 quid's worth of Hildy, maybe a bit more. But that's another fun question that I have no idea how to answer when people ask, how much are things worth? And I don't know. I mean, I technically do it for a living, but I've sold so few fossils through the shop that I am the wrong person to ask what something is worth, because I clearly don't know, because no one's buying them for what I'm charging. So no idea how you decide what something is worth, especially the fossils. Some of them I think are worth an awful lot more than what I know they tend to sell for. Things like multi-gramo blocks are just not sought after, so they tend to sell for a lot less in the number of hours I know it goes into prepping them. Whereas things like multi-deck blocks, which they're not super rare, but they're not super common either. A good multi-block, they sell for a lot more than I think they should be worth. So at least comparatively. So who can say? I mean, I have no idea. Something is worth whatever someone is willing to pay for it, and if you can make someone pay what you think it's worth, then you've done it correctly. Sorry, and just whilst I am sat here and it looks like a really boring bit of footage, I appreciate I am doing something. I am just giving it a very quick varnish with a bit of paraloid B72 front and back. Why that? Because I like shiny fossils. Whether that is the right option for you, yeah, I leave that again up to you. But I like my shells to have a bit of a shine to them, because I think a shell should have a bit of a shine to it. I don't like boring flat shells, and clearly a lot of people agree in terms of what they do with their fossils. So a lot of people quite like polished nautiloids and Scunthorpe ammonites and stuff, which clearly means that they like polished ones too. But then they will also then have a grudge about doing paraloid. So go figure. Anyway, there we go. So just a quick, might be over shiny, my paraloid's a bit thick, but I think they look great when they're a bit of shine to them, and they bring out, at least in this case, some of those sutured chambers within the calcite. Yeah. Whoop. That is a Hildy sort of day. Let's pick up another Hildy, so we can finish another Hildy quick. My shop's very wonky with what it's selling in terms of relative species richness. There's an awful lot of Hildies versus the number of decks, which is a function of how easy they are to prep rather than their commonality on the coast. I can't say I've used a Chemie's polishing. As far as I'm aware, that's basically another liquid wax. Yeah, there's lots of ways to finish things. I like the shine that, as I said, the Paraloid gives. Mine Paraloid's been out a while and is in fact a bit of a manky colour now. It probably needs a refresh. Looking at it, it's been used for an awful lot of things. Because I can tell you now, it should be clear. It is not as clear as one might like. You'd be pretty disappointed if you were served water that colour, let's put it that way. But I mean, I've got a solid beeswax. Again, I bought it when that was the only thing I could find in the shops, rather than online. I didn't know exactly what I was buying. I was told beeswax is what people were using. But that also still works. Everyone has their preference for how things should look. I don't claim that one is better than the other. They are just different. So here, I'll show you a side by side of a couple of things. So yeah, I quite like the finish of, say, a bit of a shine on it. It doesn't have to be a super deep shine. Things like the multi-deck, that is beeswax finished, because it's already shiny enough with the pyrite. It doesn't need any more. It also covers up some of your sins, so it depends on exactly how you've done some things. Where you've got matrix still showing, or little bits of it around the edges, or you might have accidentally touched the ammonite. Beeswax in a chemies, I think, seems to do quite well at covering those up. Whereas Paraloid, it doesn't hide things, it enhances them. So if you've got any flaws or imperfections, you are not hiding them with a bit of Paraloid. So again, it comes down to what you're trying to achieve, I think. Yeah, I think they're all down to your use of them, and I know a lot of people when they do, I say a lot, I know some people when they do a beeswax, a liquid wax finish, and I say liquid wax, it's a liquid beeswax. Is it Trevor that uses it? No, he uses it chemies now. Someone uses it that I've seen, and they end up taping all the way around their ammonite to then paint the ammonite. So if they end up taping all the matrix, so they get none of it on the matrix to get as like pristine a finish as possible. I have no real preference for what everyone else does. Everyone has their own opinions on what they should or shouldn't use. I just quite like the shine that it gives them. It makes it feel like the shell is doing what the shell should be doing, rather than being a bit flat. And I appreciate you can then polish up the beeswax, anything with the beeswax with sort of a polishing brush or a good rag, kind of like you would shine your shoes, which I know is why a lot of people like it. But I don't want to have to refresh all of my fossils like that, and the Paraloid gives them a bit of extra strength too, with it being a little bit of an adhesive. So yeah, it's, as I said, all personal preference. I think, I don't know, actually, Katie's probably the one in chat who might use a chemies, or might have used a chemies, so she might have some opinions. And if I talk loud enough, I'll scare her again while she's busy prepping something else. Yeah, I think it also comes down to what do you have in your shop or in your shed or wherever it happens to be, because you can buy bucket loads of the B72 for fairly cheaply, but the chemies, not so cheap, or at least it's the equivalent, because yeah, you can get acetone very cheaply, and then you just mix it up to your own preference, and you can undo it fairly easily too. So I've in fact, so I've actually got this one, which I got a bit overzealous and got some of the solution onto the matrix there and there, and so a little bit later I will go back in with some acetone and just like paint the matrix with acetone, and it basically spreads that out and gets rid of the remnants of its oopsie nature. So yeah, I think a lot of it also just is skill level. The more skillful you are, the less likely you are to need paraloid as your solution to a lot of things. Alright. Oh, I didn't finish this one, did I? Oh, it's really tempting to do what I did again with the last one. High power chisel tip, just make the rest of it pop off. I'm gonna hold that for a second and just see if I can do the middle wall. So I've got a 1.5mm tip in at the minute. So a little pseudo. Yeah, as abrasive also was the easy solution to a lot of your problems if you have it. As you asked and found out yesterday, I don't have an abrasive setup, so it's also useful that acetone reverses it, or at least, well, it does reverse it. It doesn't make it disappear magically, but it then would spread it out over the surface evenly, so then it doesn't feel so bad, or possibly help it soak into the rock, as the case may be. It's being a bit temperamental, this one. I was expecting to find the middle fairly straightforwardly, but it's going down and it's not yet there, especially if you look at the level of this whirl. I was expecting to see it fairly quickly. I believe it's a pseudo-bulbiance just because it's a Ravenscar thing, but it's a bit flattened, which I think might be part of the reason that it's not doing what I expect it when it comes to the center. And so there's a bit here that's squished into mid, and some bits that look like they might be fragmented. Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep working down just because it's interesting and good practice for me. it's got nothing resembling a functional middle. Let's see if I can show you down. It does go down, but it doesn't go to a mid. At least not anytime soon by the looks of it. But yeah, as it's looking very flat, I'm inclined to say it's crushed and gone very wonky. So we will leave that there. I will. The long-term goal is to do commercial prep. There is a long way to go before I would feel comfortable prepping even a deck for someone, and that's what I would like to do. Is I'd like to do tours. I'd like to do prep for people of common things. So when a person goes out and they find a deck or whatever, that I can then do that for them and just help them out with that. Whereas at the minute, if they find a deck that needs a prep, I have to send them elsewhere. Obviously, I'd like to prep my own stuff, but there is an understanding that my skill level is still improving. I am a lot better than I was even 3 months ago, just having the time to prep properly. But I'm also limited with equipment by not having the abrader, or an abrader, having another tool, having a microscope, having a saw. There's a lot of things I don't have that I would like to have to prep at the highest possible level, but that all requires money. And again, this is going to be a cyclical thing. As I sell more and my prep level improves, I can then buy more and repeat the process. But rare things or unusual things or stuff that I really want to go into my collection will probably still get sent off to professional prep. So if someone finds a rare ammonite, a litho or something like that, I would not feel comfortable prepping it, even give me a year's time. It takes a while to, I was trying to do commercial, yeah. It takes a long time for everything. It's a skill, and I'd say it's something that I talked about a little bit, that there always is the 10,000 hour rule for sports, that they always say that to become an expert you need to play something for 10,000 hours to then be considered an expert. It'll be probably fairly similar for prep, and that's assuming you have all the right stuff to start with. Someone with a hockey stick's not going to be able to play for 10,000 hours at table tennis and be an expert if they don't have a table tennis bat. So there is going to be a level of, it's going to take some time, and as the prep level improves, we'll get more equipment, we'll get better with it and repeat the process. But yeah, ultimately the goal for at least my first year of being commercial is prepping for the shop at a level that I am happy selling, and hopefully taking on small things from my tours towards sort of the end of summer would be the goal. If someone finds a Harpo, a big Clevy multi, Elliot multi, whatever, they'd still get pointed elsewhere, and that would be not just because it would take me so long it wouldn't become actually worthwhile for them, but also just because I wouldn't be able to give them the finish that they would deserve. And case in point, I was prepping for basically a whole week a Clevy multi-block, but I think final number had about 60 Clevies, all more or less 1.5 centimeters to 2 centimeters, a couple of bigger ones, but it's got a little litho in it as well. I did what I could, but that ended up being sent off to Sean to then finish up to get it to the level that it needs to be either my collection or on the website. And that's, I think that's part of it. If I can reduce the costs for some of them, that's great. If I can do it myself, that's great. But part of getting good is also understanding your limits and your weaknesses and your limitations. And I'm not afraid to say that there's a lot that I would love to do better. But as I said, I just don't have the gear to do a lot of it. I'd love to be able to do some abrasive, because I imagine that would be very helpful for getting the finishes on things and saving me having to try and pen in some tiny spaces that I just can't do easily with the Maya. Although I appreciate that also there's only so much abrasive you can do on upper layer stuff from Yorkshire. Yeah. yeah, and I am learning. I had a very small amount of training when I was an undergrad at the University of Bristol. A preparator there. We got chatting in a pub actually, and he was talking about the fact that we had prep gear available at the University of Bristol because they were just starting up the Bristol Dinosaur Project at the time, and they were prepping these Triassic age blocks full of Thecodontosaurus plus assorted and associated other Retian bone bed. I think it's no longer Retian, it might be Norian or similar, I don't know. It's changed since I was working on it with some new papers. But yeah, they were doing some prep work, and so I got some prep time with both acid and air pens, and got, I would say, competent with picking and all the rest. But it's been 15 years since I was in a proper prep lab, and even when I was in a prep lab doing it intermittently, I used the pens very rarely and was not brilliant with them. I will quite happily hold my hand up and say I just didn't get how you prep things without exploding without exploding things or damaging them, and so there was just an experience step that I just didn't have that needed the time, and that's what I'm enjoying at the minute, is having the time to sit and do it properly. As you say, there is a big step with having the right gear, and I accept that some of my limitations are me, some of my limitations are my gear, and some of the limitations are the fossils, and that is also part of it. It's just figuring it all out, and so I'm still not afraid to put down a fossil, but I just can't prep to a level at the minute, either because it's beyond me or beyond my equipment, and yeah, that's also part of it. But I'm also sitting here quite openly accepting that I don't know everything. If people have suggestions for things I need to do differently or should do differently or could try that might improve stuff, don't say buy an abrader, because that's not the possibility, but like, if you see things that I'm doing that like there are ways to improve that, or have you tried looking at this, that or the other as an option, I'm always open to it, and so I do appreciate people engaging, and I do appreciate you asking about like, other polishing solutions and stuff as well, because that's a part of it, is listening to all the other options that there are, and some of them might work for what I have, and that's always appreciated. But yeah, as I hopefully sell a few bits and pieces here and there, both on little tiny things like I'm doing. Oh, sorry, I've just just realised. Yeah, all I was doing was just painting this up whilst not showing it on stream. So this one's actually a Posneg, so I've got both sides of it. Not that it makes much difference being a positive negative, but I do happen to have both sides, so it'll be sold with both sides. Yeah, it's a bit of an unusual one, this. Very odd for a pseudo to be completely squished. But, yeah, just having a look at a few of the little teeny tiny bits and things that I am deciding whether or not there's much that can be done with them, stuff that should be done with them, or sell them as is for £1. And that's also part of it. Sorry, just having a look at the pile of things and deciding what is the next one I want to have a looky-loo at. Might just see if we can finish this one. This is one again that's been sat around a long time. I'm not going to do the back, but just see if we can remove these pen marks. They're actually sat on top of matrix, which is, I believe, sat on top of some shell. There's a little line here of the visible shell, so I believe all these pen marks should be able to come off. There's a couple here that we might just need to grind down, but yeah, these ones I'd like to just remove. So Paul, tell us about your background. If you said you used to do some, or you got trained commercially. Yeah, I have to say I'm not excited to start learning again, or effectively starting again when it comes to understanding how the rocks go with some of the middle layer stuff. And I've got some beautiful middle layer bits knocking around, some not so beautiful I accept, but I've got a really big Pluro block just sat here waiting for me to get good enough to even look at it. Okay, so it's yeah, YouTube is a thing. Sometimes you get very lucky, I'm told. I've not yet got very lucky. Sometimes you can work at it for years and not get very lucky. Some of it's obviously your styles and things, but it's hard work, I have to say, for YouTube side of things. My big one is just I'm struggling to get the watch hours, which is why I'm doing streaming and why I appreciate all of you being here. It's making a huge difference to the number of hours I get for people watching the videos or watching the channel. And yeah, it's in many ways a frustration that it's done by hours per year rather than like total watch hours or something like that. I guess it's one way to ensure that YouTube's making people keep doing new videos and keep on it. But yeah, it's been an adventure, and I'd love to say that all the money that from the adverts that you see on the channel, it's coming to me, but at the minute, nope, I see none of it. It all goes back to YouTube's pockets, but I guess can't complain too much because they're letting me upload videos for free, so it goes both ways. But yeah, any adverts you see on the channel, on any of the videos or on any of the streams, I don't see any of that money at the minute, and I do apologize that you're getting it. And yeah, I do appreciate all of you. Mr. Landfill, you probably are doing your part more than most for being the poor sucker who is here pretty much every day and watching all of them, or at least having them on in the background, and it is greatly appreciated. And likewise, people who are just here chatting and talking, it all helps feed the hungry YouTube algorithm when it wants people interacting with my videos and watching the hours, and it is all greatly appreciated. So a big thank you for all of you being here, and it is very helpful for me as well, because I'm not going to say I would struggle for motivation to do it, but it definitely gives extra motivation to sit here for 3 hours and do some pen work, even if it's not a great day. It's much more about motivation to just sit here and spend the hours prepping something and being honest about what's going well or not well. So I do appreciate it. It does help me an awful lot. And oddly, I found I've had fewer of those days where I'm just like, oh, this is terrible prep whilst I've been streaming. I think some of that might also just be it forces me to stop every once in a while, read the chat, which might be good for me as well. It is appreciated. Yeah, I'd say everyone's asked is like, can I not just do it myself? And the answer is no, because apparently they do keep an eye on IP addresses, and so if mine is the one that's streaming and watching, it doesn't help, unfortunately. Otherwise I would have sat with my phone, my computer, my laptop all running at the same time, but no, sadly I can't help myself either. But I did seriously contemplate leaving the 2 hours worth of paddling in the video today. So I apologize if you've watched the fossil hunt and got slightly motion sick at the paddle going at 500 to 1,000 times faster. I did contemplate making a second video of just like, here's the full paddle. But then I had to figure out all of the bloody copyright free music for all of it. And I was like, no, that's too much effort. But yeah, I did think about it. It might happen one day. Especially if we find something good or see several things out. Yeah, so it's very different. I mean, there's... Hey, the thing is, Mr. Landfill, they're a lot happier if it's someone else. If it's me doing it to myself, they dislike it. But if it's someone else just watching it, they're okay with it. Which makes sense, I guess. It's not the content creator fudging the numbers. But yeah, YouTube is all run by a mysterious algorithm of glory and doom, depending on how lucky you get. And for certain things, it picks up your videos and goes, oh, this is the best video ever, and throws it at 1,000 more people than it normally would. And sometimes you get unlucky and it says this is a terrible video because no one's watched more than 4 minutes of a 10-minute video, and then stops suggesting it to everyone, and you then get next to no views. What the rhyme nor reason is, it's tough to say sometimes. I watched some silly video that suggested that if you go watch your videos, find out where people disconnect, cut all those bits out, and then leave it up, you'll get a lot more views eventually. But I'm not convinced that's also true. I think sometimes some of those bits that people are disconnecting on are just because they've hit their attention span limit of 5 minutes or have something to do. And if you only got 50 viewers or 100 viewers per video, 2 or 3 of those dropping out at that point makes a big difference in terms of watch hours and watch completion. Yeah. So I feel appreciate you got two computers watching me. It gives me the vibes from Starship Troopers, where there's that scene with the advert that says "I'm doing my part." So I do appreciate it. And then yeah, it's surely a bit like that. There are random videos that for some reason go viral for whatever reason. In the fossiling world, that's a lot rarer. It's not to say they don't happen, but it's a lot rarer. They usually require something snazzy and catchy and like fabulous as far as fossils. So I know, for example, Mam Lambo, the New Zealand fossil hunter, went viral with one of his very first videos because he prepped, I say one of his first videos, it's probably an unfair assessment, but within like a year of him doing videos consistently, he prepped a giant crab that took him like 100 hours to prep it, but it was like a 1.5 foot across, what's that, 45 centimeter, 50 centimeter crab in a massive block, and that then got 1 million plus views and got him international TV slots and all sorts to talk about it. And so he went from basically an unknown with 50, 100,000 subs, maybe a bit less than that, but say 50,000 subs to like 1 million. And numbers might be slightly a wonk, but that sort of level of increase in fame basically overnight from one video. And it's a bit like that. And the big challenge is finding your niche. And if you got in early, and there are plenty of them who got in early, the Yorkshire Fossils.net boys got in very early and did a very good job of it. Liam from Forgotten Fossils did a very good job of getting in early and being consistent and finding some really good things. They are doing very well. They're both highly monetized and making actual money off of the channels. Obviously they've branched out and they're now making money off of various social media things, not just YouTube. But there is then a big drop from Liam down to the next biggest channel, which I think is Whitby Fossils, which is Dan Jeffens, but I might be wrong with that in terms of numbers. I haven't looked recently, it must be said. Let's just have a look, see. He's at 6.6 thousand, and I think Fossiliferous is about that number as well. So he's at 6.5. So yeah, that's the next two. So we dropped from like 50 to 100,000 in Forgotten Fossils down to 6,000. And then there's a big drop again to the next ones. And there's a few of us that have got 1 to 2,000 subscribers. So yeah, there's some big drops, but the big challenge is doing something different. Yeah, so Fossiliferous is Matt. He's at 6.5 thousand viewers. 6.5 thousand subs, sorry, and that number has gone up quite quickly recently. He's found a niche and has hit that sort of critical mass that he's now starting to grow every month. I've basically stagnated because I'm not doing anything sufficiently different and interesting that's picking up new viewers, and I'm not doing enough of the other things like shorts and things like that, which then draw in lots of people from very broad backgrounds. And so that's something I need to work on, as well as being very frustrated with this silly Hildy having said, oh, I'm just going to remove the pen marks. It turns out the shell's depressed and broken and horrible. It's not just a solid lump of shell. So that's actually made that as bad, if not worse, than it was before. So I'm just having a look at it, deciding what I want to do with it. The big challenge is because it's actually visible all the way around, cutting it back doesn't actually help anything. You could grind it down, but it still doesn't help an awful lot because it's still visible on the other side. So yeah, so I was just having a look at. But yeah, there's a lot of this that I'm still figuring out how best to approach it, and I think I've always thought that the academic side of things would be the way to do it, but the academic videos do terribly, and people just seem to like the fossil hunting. So it's a fun quirk of just how it all works and what people are watching and what you need to do to get enough people watching. But yeah, there is a critical mass that once you get it, it then self-perpetuates. So like, if you get, say, a video, you're going to get enough people who like it, which then drives the algorithms to send it to more people or show it to more people and repeat the process. Right, let's have a look at this thing and see if I can figure out what I'm doing with it. But yeah, what I really need, I think, if I want my channel to go viral, is me to find a skull of something or a giant footprint block and then chuck it in a kayak and paddle it back and make it a big deal. That would do it. I think that would go. Well, I say that would do it. Knowing my luck, that would do nothing. That would be like one of the worst videos I've ever produced. But that's the sort of thing that the people seem to love. So yeah, So let's keep my fingers crossed and my toes and all the rest that I'm going to run into I think dinosaur skull, or actually I'll take a dinosaur skull. If we're going outlandish, let's get dinosaur skull in there, and then have to kayak it out, and I would be a-okay with that. I think that would be a lot of fun. I've been lazy. I just plonked a bit of wax across it, and then we'll let it dry out. I've given it a brush back. A brush back, a wipe back with a cloth. The problem is my cloths, I haven't done it properly, and so it's shed a few bits in it. But you can kind of hide some of those sins. So there's a few bits where I've dinged shell, and they're hidden at least for now. We'll see how it dries out, because some of those might become visible again. But at least for now, that'll do. It's no more pen marks anywhere visible, so that'll do. Sorry all, you're getting long moments of very little as I look at the box of things that I would have liked to have finished for Saturday, aren't going to get finished for Saturday, so I'm trying to figure out what I think is finishable quickly, but also worth the effort to finish properly, and what can wait. And the problem is there's an awful lot of things that I've started on stream, and so we've got various things like this that need finishing, Paranoceros, a deck, that sort of level of stuff that I'm just having a look at and figuring out what I think I can finish quickly and up to a suitable level that I can sell potentially on Saturday. And some of them I may not be able to, but it's just trying to decide, because I need some things that are worth 4 or 5, well, 5-ish quid, and I need a few things that are worth 50 quid, and it's just trying to find the right balance. And it's also this one that I have been looking at for a while. I just want to have a look, see if that middle might just be there. One of those interesting grammars that sat in an awful lot of other shells. It needs a bit of a scrubbing to see if some of this dirt and dust will come off, because I think that shell might look quite nice. But yeah, I'll have a look, see if that middle's there. Saturday I've just had a village fete. It's nothing fancy. I've got basically all of my fossil shops going with, including the stuff that's online, and then I'll see if I can sell anything. And at that point I'm actually going to take my shop offline for at least the weekend, and then revamp it and redo it, and then put everything back on with a better system for keeping track of everything. But yeah, it's just a village thing. It's nothing fancy, but it's a chance to try and sell some fossils and sell some tours to some people. It's not super fancy. If you happen to be down in Lincolnshire, you're welcome to come along. But it's not really going to be everyone's cup of tea. And it's mostly because my in-laws have asked if I wanted to share a stall with them. And so yeah, they've got an arts and crafts bit, and I'm going to have some fossils on the second half of it. But I need some things that would appeal to a mass audience, and some of them are going to be probably too expensive for a general village fete type thing. But at the same time, you never know, if you get something that people are like, ooh, that's really nice, I would love to get that, then yeah. But I'm expecting more of the things for like kids, where it's going to be a £5-10 sort of budget for most people. And I find it really wonky, because to me, I think an ammonite for a kid's still a couple of quid thing, but I appreciate everything's become a lot more expensive, and I find it tough to get my head around prices still. So yeah, if you live in Lincolnshire and you want to come to, I think it's in Kilby. Yeah, that's where I will be on Saturday. Yeah, it's Kilby Summer Gala. So North Lincolnshire, but yeah, that's where I will be. Obviously, all are welcome to come along and say hello if you happen to be nearby, but it's going to be a little teeny tiny thing and probably not worth the trip for most people because it's not fossil focused. It'll just be me as a weird little bit of fossils there. But yeah, it's a good chance for me to prep a bunch of stuff to a finished level. Oh, yeah, you're not far away. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing, and sorry, just trying to get everything sorted, at least, I say everything, trying to get something sorted, because yeah, I'd also like to revamp the fossil shop and get the listings better organized, and yeah, so I'm just going to use it as an opportunity to redo an awful lot of things. Yeah, middle's not bad. A bit of a naff white calcite that I just can't shift because it's the original shell. So Gramo is a bit like all the Hildosserid family. They have often multiple levels of shell, and sometimes it comes off cleanly, sometimes not so much, and so you get this sort of ring of white calcite that I'd love to shift but cannot. But also made worse by the fact that, as you can see, all the other shells attached, and some breaking into it. But I'm going to go give this a rinse and see if a bit of a quick scrub will help. But I also have to be a little careful. I just noticed there's an actual little hairline fracture running all the way across it, which I'm hopeful isn't going to open when I do anything, but I think that's probably from when I hit it, because you might even see there's cracks along. There's a little ammonite here, but I'm not going to venture anywhere near it because that'll break. But yeah, I'll give it a quick rinse and give it a quick scrub. I'll be right back. Alright, quick rinse. It actually doesn't look as good under the camera as it does out of it when this is actually wet, and so it's kind of what the paraloid finish will give it. I think it looks quite nice. I think all the shells too. I think they'll look pretty good. And I like the ones that are minimal prep. The middle's not bad. Bit of interest, even if there's some holes in the shell because of where other shells are. Yeah, that'll need to dry out before I can do anything to it. Yeah. I'm out of space in my shed with all the boxes. Right. And the thing I really want to do is this one. I really would like to get this done. But I do not think the next hour is going to be sufficient to get anywhere close to done with it. And I know sometime tomorrow, but tomorrow I got to do all the boxing and labeling. So this one may have to wait, even though I would love to get it done, because yeah, it's got some interest to it with the little ones. Again, one of those sort of specimens that look great on display as well for a stall, because you're like, oh look, 3 of them all in one. It's kind of why I finished the other DAC multi today. I thought it would look fab. So yeah, this one may have to wait. I may do that one tomorrow morning if I have time, but it's probably not on stream because it'll be all under magnification and not great for watching. Yeah, might see if we can finish this semi. I'm just gonna swap tip off to a 3mm chisel just to smooth down the matrix and get it lower. I'm not going to worry too much about the ribs. This one's got slightly broken ribbing. We did this one on a stream. Oh, that's even more annoying. I just broken my bloody tip. I'm gonna drop that. Well, that's 50 quid. Oops. Hey ho. Yeah, turns out don't drop your tips. So I will need to buy a new one off of Zoic, which I guess is good timing, but it means I'm not finishing anything, unfortunately. That needs fine detail, because what I have just done is a classic idiot moment. Tungsten carbide, incredibly strong in certain orientations, very, very brittle in others, and so dropped it and it just went. So yeah, that's another 50 quid. Oops. Disappointingly, give me 1 second, I need to actually order that with some urgency. It would be nice to get that here. Yeah, no is the right response of that one I felt as I dropped it. It was just, that was a very sad moment. Yeah, I would love to say rock one. It was Andrew dropped it, and although it did hit a rock, but yeah, it was. It was an oops, and not a nice oops. And I could solder things, but I don't have a solderer, so I am no better off with that either. So yeah, that was a low moment. Oh well. Yeah. Well, ordered a new other one as well for a little chisel tip on a 1.5 mil. I'm curious to see what that's like. I've been wondering for a while. Probably not worth it, but might help with the smoothing what I'm about to do. So yeah, let's get smoothing, and no point crying over broken tips. But I will keep hold of it just in case down the line. I have the ability to solder, but my fear is a solder, even with that, you probably break it again down the line because of where it is. It's just by the rings. Yeah. And that, my friends, is why you look after your equipment. Yeah, I have no idea how they make them, but yeah, whether they. So I'll get one that's not broken. But yeah, they basically, for a standard one, with the O-rings, a bit silicon. Yeah, it's a tungsten carbide bit, whatever tip you have on the end, and then whatever connection they have down there. So I don't know if enough technical terms have pressed into the base or whatever the correct term is, but yeah, possibly in and then the base crimped around it. I see. So basically, for the other one, you would suggest effectively shortening the length of the tip by effectively remove the stump. Is that the gist? You'd remove this little stump that's in here. If you could heat up the base, put the actual needle back in, and then just work with a shorter tip. Is that what I'm getting from you, Paul? Yeah, that's an expensive. Oops, one do not recommend. See if we can grind this one down. It's looking very scruffy around the edges. It does need some more pen work around the ribs for this last little bit of matrix, but we'll see if we can smooth at least most of it down first. Sorry, I just realised I unmuted you then did the spray. Hey Trevor. Just dealing with a bit of a mess of a semi, not helped by the fact that I just dropped my 1.5mm tip. Tungsten carbide tip snapped, but not an ideal way to wind up my day, but we're getting there. Lots of smoothing to still do, lots of tidying to still do, but getting somewhere, I think, slowly but surely. But no, the big problem with this one is that there's going to be an awful lot of tidying around ribs, and I'm not particularly enthused to do an awful lot of rib tidying. But, I think that is what is going to need to be done. Have you done any fun preps of late, Trevor? Or at least any that you can talk about? Yeah, no worries, Trevor. So, I know you said that you were easing back, so I wasn't sure if you'd had taken the time or just finished up everything. No worries. I always like to hear what people are up to. I know Katie pops in and out and often tells us what she's been up to. Oh, sorry to hear he's not doing well, Trevor. Yeah, it's never great. It means you can't do all the things you enjoy. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what you get up to when you can get back into it. I know a lot of people just had to stop with the weather as well when it's been 30 degrees or whatever, and with another heat wave coming, it's not ideal to be sat in enclosed spaces melting away. Hey Jules. So it's I'd say, you know, productive day. Unfortunately, the most exciting bit of prep I did today, I did off stream, so apologies for everyone who's come along expecting to see fabulous prep. No, the best prep I did all day was finishing off this one, which we'd started on stream a while ago. It's not perfect, but I'm fairly pleased with how it's come out. So yeah, quite tough with that. But yeah, between doing some other odds and sods, as everyone here is heard, I've got a little village fete that I've been trying to prep a bunch of stuff for, just in case it's popular as a sort of an odd thing. It's not a fossil festival or anything like that, but just been trying to mass produce some things. So stream hasn't been high quality stuff, or at least not high quality prep by any stretch, but trying to just get some odds and sods finished off. Yeah, to be honest, it's not a double, it's a triple and a half is best I can offer. So yeah, it's a bit sneaky because you got the one, I'm annoyed that wasn't preserved and that was just shale. That's really frustrating. But 1, 2, and then there's a third one underneath, although this one I appreciate in the picture does look kind of like it's a continuation of that one. So yeah, two decent ones, one that's a bit broken, but it's there and tucked underneath, and then a partial, which also just not preserved. It was blown out and had expected it to be the case when we could see it in the section. Kind of similar to this one, I expected this one to be blown out, so I'm pleased that there's at least a nice bit of whirl that goes into the rest. Am I doing any splitters? Yeah, I might do. I'll take a few probably. Probably just, if nothing else, as ones that they can always take home and I can tell them where they should aim. The challenge with splitters is sometimes people don't appreciate the reality of hitting a rock with a hammer and the fossil surviving, it being a miracle in some cases. And so you can end up with some very disappointing customers if they come along expecting it to open. That's why you find that some of the places that offer like geodes that split, you can split your own geode and they come back and get a replacement if it doesn't open well. But maybe we'll see. It's one of those. It's a useful way to offload a lot of decks if you need to, and get more money than they're worth if you do swaps. But yeah, I'm busy doing very boring rib tickling, not fun rib tickling, but basically just working around trying to tickle the sediment out of all the ribs. I'm sure there's probably a better way to do it, but some of that might come down to also having the right equipment. But alas, yeah, so that's all I'm doing. It's just not very exciting to watch, I appreciate, but yeah, just slowly working around, working out all of these little bits of matrix between all the ribs where possible to try and get it to a, at least, if not perfect, at least a smoother, consistent finish all the way around. But it's going to get really unpleasant on this section where this bit has crushed, and I think this bit of whirl is offset, and so yeah, we'll just have to see how it gets on. Yeah, thanks, Farcon, on both accounts. Yeah, I'm really struggling with this. I got to a point that I think I just need air abrasive, but I don't have it, and I don't have a good solution with my 2mm tip. I would say I'd use a 1.5mm tip or a finer tip to get between all the ribs, but as everyone has seen earlier, I did an oopsie and broke my 1.5mm tip. That's not a recommended thing to do, by the way. It's an expensive oopsie to have when you drop them, and they do that. That's oops. But yeah, I really enjoyed the kayaking. Actually, I have to say, I'm excited to go do it again at some point. It was a lot, I would say, not a lot easier. It was different. It was very pleasant to not have to worry about coming back up a hill, either up the horrible, well, across the slippery foreshore and then up the pretty much straight up shot that it is from the Seal Headland up to the golf course from Ravenscar, or up through all the ticks this time of year. So it was really nice to have a refreshing paddle. I am sad we didn't get to see the dolphin, or I saw the dolphin. Sad the video didn't get to see the dolphin, because yeah, it popped up. I mean, it's probably all 10 feet in front. It was really cool to see. But yeah, sadly it didn't come back. It popped up, had 2 quick breaths, and then disappeared again, presumably fishing happily underneath us somewhere. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it makes a huge difference to what you feel comfortable carrying as well, when you basically only have to carry it up the boggle hole walk, and even then you don't have to carry it the whole thing, you just have to carry it up to a point that you can get the car to it. Yeah, it was much nicer, much more pleasant. Really enjoyed it. So I'm glad you've enjoyed. There will be more adventures with the kayak down the line, but it does also rely super heavily on the weather, even more so than a standard fossil hunt with tides and all the rest. This one relies on tides plus wind and waves, and It's really interesting to see, and there will be some improvements to how it's all filmed, because I appreciate that seeing everything at 500 to 1,000 times faster may not have been necessarily the most enjoyable for everyone, but I couldn't figure out how better to do effectively 2 hours of paddling footage down to something that was bearable. So yeah, might have to see if we can time lapse it or something similar, but my GoPro doesn't have that sort of feature. So just again finding out what can we do with the equipment we have without spending a lot of money, or at least until something makes me a lot of money. That will get there. I do also apologize, because you've got here basically at a point that I think I might just have to give up, because I just can't do this properly, and that sucks. But yeah, I don't have a good solution for trying to clean between the ribs as I come further forward without basically making all the ribs disappear. And I think part of that is just because it's got this break in it, which has flattened out this section, which then means all these ribs are wonky and not ideal. And yeah, I'm sure an abrader would work a lot better, but I don't have one, and I don't have a 1.5 mil, so I'm out of good ideas at this point, unfortunately. So that might just have to be one of those that finishes another day. And yeah, it does mean that the one that I really wanted to finish, which was this one, definitely will not be able to finish, at least for any time soon. So I'm hopeful I'll get my new replacement tips sometime next week, so that we can do some finishing on some of these bits and pieces, because yeah, a lot cannot be done anymore, which is disappointing. But yeah, I'm gonna just end the stream imminently, so that I do appreciate you all being here. For those of you who've just been able to join, I do apologize if you're joining just as I'm leaving. Hopefully you'll be able to watch the whole video live, or I say live, but just go rewind yourselves and watch it again. If not, the whole video comes back out on YouTube as fast as YouTube processes it. I am maybe around tomorrow. That will depend a little bit on how well I get all of my my preparation stuff done tomorrow morning. When I say preparation stuff, I don't mean fossil prep, I mean boxing things and labeling things and putting price tags on things and all of the really boring stuff that I'm not particularly enthused to do but needs doing. And yeah, when that's all said and done, we'll see where we're at, and if it's not too late, then I'll come on and do some prep, and we'll figure out what we can do, even if it's just starting some roughing out on some next things. There's been another DAC multi-set there looking at me for a little bit of time. I'm not convinced there's much of that one left, but there is potential for more to be in here. This one looks promising, at least, but yeah, we'll see. But I don't want to make you guys any promises. If not, I should be back next week at some point. Yeah, a big thank you for everyone for coming out and watching, and I hope you've enjoyed the bits you've seen, and yeah, we'll be back, as I said, soon. So big thanks, look after yourselves, enjoy your weekends. If I am not back tomorrow, try not to melt in the sunshine and heat if you're in Michigan, as the case of Mr. Landfill and all the rest of the Brits who have got our next heat wave incoming. And yeah, catch you all soon. Cheers for watching.